Okay, so let's get into some mobility work today that involves some standing poses. We're going to go into like a slow flow. We're using some sun salutations, and then we'll use the down dog to get into some standing postures. So it's best if we have a couple of blocks. Those who are coming regularly, you'll know that we all pretty much always use a couple of blocks. Those who don't come so regularly, you'll need to find some kind of alternative. If you don't have an alternative, then it just means that the transitions might be a bit clunkier. Hi, Katie, nice to see you. Hey, Ashana. So have your blocks just at the top of the mat. We'll do a little mood setter before we get going on our sun salutation. So if you widen your feet out, we're going to do a breathing practice just to get our mind into the right kind of sensibility, the quality of our attention into the right spaciousness. So let's just take a little wide stance, lift your arms up in a big circle on the inhale, catch something invisible above your head and bring it right down into your heart, sit softly into an invisible chair, close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. If closing your eyes makes you feel dizzy or unstable, just let your eyes be softly downcast. 2. The 3rd breath here, 3. And then lift up, open your eyes, looking up, watching your arms come upwards and then sharing outwards. Okay, now let's imagine that we're scooping and gathering energy, catching it above us, bringing it into the garden of our heart space, closing our eyes and letting ourselves be very clearly gaining energy as we breathe. You're gaining energy from the earth up through your feet, up through your pelvis, gaining energy from the air that you breathe, from your focused mind, from the planet, from the sun, and then lift up, watching your arms lift and then share outwards as though that is now a fountain, like an abundant pool of energy. Lift on the inhale, scooping, bring it right into the garden of your heart space and plant that focused mind on gaining energy, plant it like a seed in the garden of your heart. Feeling the thrill in the legs, in the belly, in the chest, in the mind. And then as though we are a fountain of energy, lifting up and sharing out. Okay, another round, scoop and gather energy. Catch, plant, focus. Like a sense of determination. Feel and experience the energy building. Each time you take a breath, the energy builds. And then share that out, lift up and out. Okay, scoop and gather courage. Catch it and your hands planted in your heart. And now focus on developing your courage. Courage being trusting yourself, trusting your body, trusting your mind, trusting each other, which makes us feel fearless and capable. Be determined and focused, building courage. Once we feel kind of like we've enhanced our courage, our fearlessness, now share it with the others up and scatter it like seeds in the wind. Again, courage. Skip and gather. Catch, plant, focus, determined to build a courageous place within ourselves. Simply through determination, through focus, through commitment. This is kind of like building sankalpa, or an internal promise, a resolve within ourselves, but for one another. And then lift up, scatter like seeds in the wind. Again, courage. Catch, focus. It's a promise. You're focusing your mind's eye, you're focusing inwards, allowing yourself to foster this energy, this courage, this internal power. And then lift up and share out. Okay, last one. Love, plant it like a seed in the garden of your heart space. Let's, on this round, instead of doing 3 breaths, do 3 oms, loving oms. Send it out to me, send it out to your people, send it out to your kinsfolk, send it out to anybody who is suffering. And then lift it up and share it out like you're a fountain sharing loving energy. And then heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Let's just give ourselves a little shake and shimmer, a little jump around, little spring around as well. Just give yourself a little shake out first. Shake, shake, dancing from side to side, up and down. Just give yourself a little bounce around like a little dance party. Okay, and then we'll stand still and come to the top of the mat. Now we're in the mood to bow to the glorious light of the ancient sun together. So lift the arms up on the inhale. Carry the sky energy to the earth on the exhale, fold down. Inhale, half lift. You can use blocks if you'd like to. Stepping back into the plank, plank to full or half chaturanga, or all the way to the floor, into an up dog or a cobra. Inhale, exhale into down dog. Let's take 3 breaths. Inhale, 1, exhale. You can be wiggling on this first down dog. You can bend 1 knee at a time. Inhale, 2, exhale. Inhale, 3, exhale here. Step, walk, or even jump forwards on the next inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, lifting up, earth energy to the sky. And then standing as a channel between the earth and the sky. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, half lift. Stepping off the left foot, right foot back into the plank, maybe to chaturanga or the floor, into an up dog or a cobra, and to the down dog. 3 breaths, down dog. 1. Exhale. So you can keep wiggling and just getting to know the connective tissue today, this moment, in this body, in this practice, during this breath. After your 3 breaths, walk, step, or jump forwards, half lift. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, floating up with the arms and the gaze. Back to the beginning. Last round, inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding down. The half lift, inhale. Stepping right foot, left foot, plank to chaturanga or the floor, into an up dog or a cobra, to the down dog. 3 breaths. Inhale, 1. Exhale. 2. You can be lengthening the legs or bending the knees a little bit, but let go of the head and neck. So you've got a lovely soft neck, soft face upside down. On the next inhale, step, walk or jump forwards and fold. And lifting up, floating up, hands gaze, back to the beginning. Let's go to sun salutation B now. Inhale, chair pose, big scoop, lift the hands, bend the knees, exhale, fold down. Inhale, half lift. Stepping, walking or jumping back to chaturanga or the floor, into an up dog or a cobra, to the down dog. Okay, stepping the right foot forwards in between the blocks, the back heel down. We're going into warrior 1. Bend the front knee, lift the hands. They might be together, they might be apart. 3 breaths, warrior 1. Inhale, 1. Exhale, bend through the front knee and ground through the back heel. 2. Exhale, feel the warrior spiritedness here. It's lifting energy all the way from the earth to the hands. 3. Hands down, foot back, plank, chaturanga or the floor, into an up dog or a cobra, to the down dog. Step the left foot forwards, the back heel's coming down. We're coming into warrior one on the left for 3 breaths. Feel the energy coming all the way up through your body into your hands. 2, exhale. 3, exhale down, hands down, foot back plank, chaturanga or the floor, into the up dog, to the down dog, 3 breaths. Inhale, 1, exhale. 2, nice active hands and broadened shoulders. Exhale. Inhale, 3. Exhale. Inhale, jump, walk or step forwards, half lift. Exhale, folding. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, Samasthiti. All right, meet you again in the down dog for warrior 2 this time. So inhale, chair pose, going through the sun salutation B until we get to the down dog. Exhale, folding. Half lift, jumping, stepping or walking back to chaturanga. And then the up dog or the cobra. Here we are meeting in the down dog. Let's swing the right leg a few times back and forward. So lift the right foot up on the inhale, swing it forwards, knee into the chest on the exhale. Lift on the inhale, exhale, knee to the chest. And just do 4. Inhale, lift. Exhale, knee to the chest. There's 3. Inhale, lift. Exhale, knee to the chest. There's 4. Now swing, lift on the inhale, exhale, step. Warrior 2, back foot squares down. We're out with our arms. We're open to the side of the mat. 3 breaths. 1. Exhale. 2. Exhale. Spread your hands. Spread the mind space. Inhale. 3. And then dive onto the hands off that front foot through the plank, through chaturanga, into the up dog, to the down dog. Swinging the leg 4 times. Lift the left leg up. Exhale forwards. 1. Lift up. Exhale forwards. 2. Lift up. Exhale forwards. 3. Up. Exhale forwards. 4. Last one. We'll lift it up and then step it forwards. Big step. Back foot square. Warrior 2. 3 breaths. Inhale. 1. Spread the hands. Bend that front knee. Charge through the back leg. Inhale. 2. Exhale. Inhale. 3. Dive onto the hands off the front foot, plank, chaturanga, or the floor, into an up dog or a cobra, to the down dog. 3 breaths. Inhale. 1. Exhale. Enjoy your deep, slow breathing. Inhale. 2. Exhale. Inhale. 3. Exhale here. Step, walk, or jump. Inhale to the half lift. Exhale, folding. Inhale, chair pose. And Samasthiti. Okay, meet you in the down dog for the next standing poses. We're going to be doing some twisted lunges and side angle poses. So inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift, inhale. Step, walk, or jump to the floor, to chaturanga, into the up dog and down dog. So lift the right foot up. This time we're going to swing it outwards. We're going to tap the right foot to the right side of the right block. So lift and tap. 1, lift up, out, tap. 2, lift up, out, tap. 3, lift up, tap. 4, this time step it in between the blocks. Lift up, step in between the blocks. Take the back knee down, lift up into the lunge. The hands can be on the knee, and just let the lunge kind of develop over time. We're just going to sink into the connective tissue for a moment. Okay, now we'll develop the twist. Left elbow comes over the right knee. You might bring your hand down onto the block or hands together, elbows apart. You might even lengthen through the back leg. 3 breaths in the twisted lunge, or Parivrtta Parshvakonasana. 1. Exhale. 2. Exhale. And 3. Bring that back knee down on that last exhale. So we're now going to change it between the side angle and the twisted side angle. So take the right block onto its second edge, bring the back heel down and lift the left arm up and over. So you're in the side angle pose. We're going to alternate between the side angle and the rotated side angle. So take 3 breaths here, side angle pose 1. Exhale. 2. Bending that front knee. Don't let it track in, let it track out. 3. And then we're going to bring the left hand down, lift the right hand off the block, not bringing the back knee down, just lifting the right arm up. So the left hand's on the block, right arm up. It's a slight variation on that twisted lunge. 3 breaths here. 1. Exhale. So you can feel an opening in the right hip. 2. Exhale, lengthen through that back leg. Last inhale. Right hand down onto that second edge of that right block, back heel down, lift the left arm up and over. Inhale here, exhale here. 2, exhale. Last inhale. Last twisted lunge, left hand down, back heel lifts, right arm up. This will be the last one in this set. We're just allowing this hip to open, the right hip. Inhale here. Exhale here, bend through that right knee and lengthen through the back leg. Take last inhale. Bring both hands onto the block, bring that right foot back. We're in to the vinyasa, so back to plank, to chaturanga or the floor, into an up dog or a cobra, and then back to down dog. So we're going to lift the left foot and tap it outside of the left block 4 times. Lift up on inhale, left foot taps left side of left block. 1. Lift the foot, left side of left block. 2. Lift the foot up, forwards, tap 3. Lift up, forwards, tap 4. This time lift up, forwards in between the blocks. The foot comes down, bend the back knee, we're in the lunge. You might lift your hands up onto that left knee, sink into the lunge, let that quad on the right side lengthen out for a moment, and then develop the twist. So the right arm comes hooking over the knee, hands together, elbows apart. You can lengthen through the back leg as an option. Breathe deep and slow. 1. Exhale. Inhale. 2. 3. And then coming back out, we're going into the side angle pose. So bring the left block onto its second edge, bring the back heel down and reach the right arm up and over. Side angle pose, 3 breaths. We'll alternate a few times between this and a twisted side angle. So deep breath here, 1 long line from the back heel all the way into the right fingertips. Last inhale here. The right hand comes down onto the right block, bring the back heel to lift and lift the left arm up. So this is now about the left hip. Breathing here, bend that front knee deeply. You're spinning your chest into the twist. Last breath in here. Swapping left hand down, back heel down. You're up and over with that top hand side angle pose, making sure that the left knee doesn't track in, track it out slightly. It's tracking to the 4th toe, perhaps on that left foot. There's a little hip opener on the left hip, and then we're swapping. We're going to develop an outer hip opening when we twist. So come into the last twist, right hand down, back heel lifts, lift the left arm up, bend that left knee deeply and spin the chest. Last inhale here, and then we're ready for the vinyasa. So the block comes back onto its flat edge, come back to plank, plank to chaturanga or the floor, into an up dog or a cobra, into the down dog. Let's take 3 breaths in our down dog, or you can rest. If you feel like resting down into a child's pose, do that. Last breath here in the down dog. And then inhale, step, walk or jump. Half lift, exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, back to Samasthiti. Okay, meet you in the down dog. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half left. Stepping, walking or jumping. Chaturanga or the floor. Into the back bend and then into the down dog. So let's take the right foot up towards the ceiling, directly upwards, heel lifts. We're in three-legged dog. We're charging the back of the right leg, so bring the toes directly downwards. 2 more breaths here. So we're charging the back of the leg, and then let's step that right foot in between the blocks, tip the blocks onto the top edge, reach them forwards and jump off the back leg, warrior 3. We've got the left heel directly up. If you can tolerate the weight coming in through that right leg to lift your hands, flying warrior 3. 3 more breaths here. Inhale, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 2. Exhale. Last inhale. Landing your hands, landing that back foot. Just pacify for a moment. Going from warrior 3 to the half moon. Back heel down. So we've done this sequence over the last few months. Those of you that have been coming regularly, you'll recognize we've done this sequence before, and these postures as we tap, 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 lift, 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 lift into half moon. These postures will be getting easier and easier as your hips start to open, as your balance starts to improve, you're becoming strong and mobile. And so celebrating how well adapted we've become to these postures. They might still be very, very tricky, especially the half moon. And then landing, let's go through the vinyasa. Blocks flat, back to plank, back to chaturanga or the floor, into the up dog or the cobra, down dog. And so we're lifting the left heel directly upwards, three-legged dog, because we want to charge the back of the left leg. And so it may be that you're feeling the impacts of your practice simply as a bit of extra stamina, a little bit of extra mobility, a bit of extra concentration, more focused. And the thing about our yoga practice as we step forwards, bring the blocks forwards and go into the flying warrior 3, hands come back. The thing about practicing yoga is that we don't necessarily notice the gains. We might notice that especially warrior 3 and half moon might be simpler, might be easier to do. It's nice to check in with some difficult postures, just to check on how our balance and strength are going. Let's land, pacify for a moment. Move the right block out of the way, half moon, so we're bringing the right hand onto the hip, and we're taking the left block forwards, and we tap, 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 float. Float the right arm up as well. The thing about our practice is we don't necessarily notice the gains that we've made, the kind of the well-being that is inherent until we stop. So we best not stop. Some of you have maybe had breaks before and you're like, oh no, 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 let's not stop doing our practice. So taking our last breath here and landing for the vinyasa. This will be the last vinyasa, coming back into the plank. Plank to chaturanga or the floor, into the up dog, down dog, 3 breaths. And so our well-being expands, our courage, our personal courage, our sense of connectedness, our sense of well-being, our perhaps more positive state of mind. All of this is an adaptation to our practice. And the next inhale, step, walk or jump. Half left, exhale, folding. And I think that one of the most beautiful things as we finish this vinyasa, one of the most beautiful things that I observe, let's step out nice and wide. We're going to do that breathing practice again. One of the most gorgeous things I observe in students as I get to know them is how much their partners know they need to do yoga. How wonderful, right? Because others can see your glow, can see the benefits. Okay, let's do another few rounds of this breathing practice because I think it's a beautiful breathing practice to do. Scoop and gather courage. Catch it in your hands, plant it like a seed in the garden of your heart. The courage to be yourself, the courage to know your own mind, the courage to get to know the world in its finest detail, the courage to care. And lift up, share that out. Again, scoop and gather courage. Catch, plant, commit, intend. Our intention creates the context for our lives, right? And so following your deepest insight, your deepest longings, your deepest knowing, following your dreams, following your curiosities, and then lift up, share that out. And again, scoop and gather. We can do this all day. It just gets better and better and better. Committing, fearlessness, feeling yourself fearlessly, being yourself. The courage to care, the courage to love. And scatter that like a seed on the wind. One more round. Scoop and gather. I've become kind of quite addicted to this practice. I do it on the beach. It's so good. Let me tell you, it's so good. You know, I notice when I haven't done it, I feel a bit dull. But this little, it's very, very simple. But yoga is simple. It's a simple coming home. The courage to be ourselves, to know ourselves. And then scatter that like seeds on the wind. Okay, let's do some more standing poses. We'll heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, give that a little bit of a kick out. So triangle pose, mostly for some mobility in the hips. So you can take a block on its high edge onto the right side of the right heel or along the long edge of the mat. Back toes turn in a little. Just bend through the knees, plant the feet really deeply into the mat. So you're really creating footprints on both feet on the mat. Push down to lengthen the legs. Lift the arms up on the next inhale, and then reach, 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 reach to the right. Bring your hand down onto the block. Bring your top hand up, and maybe even lining the shoulders up. So this is about mobility in the hips. Sometimes we do this actively, like a core strengthener. This is about mobility in our hips, the pelvis. A few breaths in the triangle pose. Let's take that top arm now, that top arm all the way around the back. You might even hook your fingers around the opposite thigh. So we're getting a shoulder opener. This is a lovely bind. If you just catch your yoga pants at the back, that's also fine. Breathing a few deep, slow breaths here. Okay, last breath in the triangle pose. So you can bend that knee to come out of the position, bring yourself over to the other side. So left side, left heel, block behind it, back toes are turned a little, bend through both knees, plant the feet, and then push down to lengthen the legs, lift the arms up as you inhale, and reach, 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 reach. Take that hand onto the block, the right hand up initially, lining up the shoulders maybe. And if it's not feeling comfortable around the sacrum, you can take that back hip, it's the right hip right now, and turn it forward slightly until you do feel comfortable in the lower back. Don't let this one agitate the sacrum or the lower back. Take the right hand, that top hand, all the way around, tuck it under, maybe. Either grab the back of your pants or all the way around onto the opposite thigh, which is kind of cool to feel the opposite thigh behind you. This is a lovely shoulder opener for getting to know yourself at the back. Taking 2 more breaths in this position. Last breath, triangle. And then we'll bend the knee to come out of there. Let's take both blocks now. We're going to do rotated triangle, which is a really tricky position to do. Both blocks stacked up onto the right side of the right foot. So we haven't probably done this so often, and it's a tricky one to do. You can bend the front knee if you need to. Bring your hands onto the hip, and the pelvis is square to the right foot, and all 10 toes are facing the right side. The back heel is not in line with the front heel. We're in train tracks in our feet. Okay, lift the left arm up on the inhale, and then forward bend, reach, 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 reach. Take your right hand onto the blocks, and then see if you can spin the chest, spin the lungs, lift the right arm up if it feels appropriate. You can bend the right knee a little bit if you need to. You don't have to lift that right hand if it doesn't feel good. Spinning into this twist. Breathing deep and slow. This is a really tricky one, so if you don't feel good about it, bend the knee a little bit. Last breath here. And then coming around, scoop your blocks up so you can come to the left side, taking the blocks stacked onto the left side of the left foot, feet into train tracks, all 10 toes facing the same side, pelvis square to the left side. Lift the right arm up on the inhale, reach forwards and down and across to the blocks. See if you can spin the lungs. You're grounding through that right hand onto the blocks. Bend the knee if it doesn't feel good. Lift the back arm if you feel it's appropriate. Keep extending space for your breathing. You can breathe into the back of the body, into the back of the lungs. Take one last breath here. And then coming back and around, all the way up and out of that position. We're going into wide-legged forward bends now. We won't need the blocks. So open the feet, toes are all facing forwards. Take your hands onto the hips. Inhale here. Exhale, take yourself into a forward bend, hands on the floor. Maybe the fingertips into the line of the toes, maybe not. Take another inhale, lengthen from the pubic bone to the throat. And then exhale into the position. You can take your palms to flatten on the floor if possible. And if it's not, widen your feet until it is. And just into the wide-legged forward bend, Prasarita Padottanasana A. Letting the head completely rest. So the back of the neck is kind of tugged open. There's a decompression available here in the neck. So we're going to go between the wide-legged forward bends, and we're going to sit up into the horse stance. So let's come up on the next inhale. Once you're up, turn the toes, bend the knees, bring your hands into the center and push them together. Just pushing into the center with a soft face, pushing into your hands. When you push into your hands in this position, the muscles on the underside of the shoulder blades switch on, unless you've got your shoulders shrugging. So bring the shoulders away from the ears, push into the hands, and switch on the muscles that are around the lower back ribs, around the shoulder blade area. You can feel yourself nice and centered here. Second of the wide-legged forward bends now. So we're standing up, take the hands onto the hips. This time, we're not using our hands, Prasarita Padottanasana B, fold down, no hands on the floor. You can pull your elbows and shoulders just back a little bit, release your head and neck. Even turn your face from side to side to ensure that you're not holding unnecessarily around the back of the skull. Feeling all that blood rushing into the face. And then in one action, if you can, inhale, stand up, let the blood rush back out of your face, turn the toes out, bend the knees. This time we're going to push our fists behind us. So lock fists together behind your chest if it feels appropriate in your shoulders, and then see if you can push the fists together a little bit. Just be careful with the sensations around the shoulder blades. Maybe that feels really, really good. If you have damage around the shoulders or the rib cage, it might not feel so good. Don't stick your bum out in this position. Take the tailbone down, bend the knees. Breathe deep and slow. Don't shrug the shoulders, broaden the shoulders down, push into the fists. This is really kind of great for the shoulders, unless it's not. If you have any kind of quirky things happening around the shoulders or shoulder blades, just being careful with this one. Okay, and then lift yourself up. Third forward fold. Take the toes to face forwards. Interlock the hands behind you. Pull the arms back in, so the interlock of the hands, that's it. Exhale, folding down. Prasarita C. Release your head and neck. Another breath here. And inhale, stand up. Taking your toes out, knees to bend, pushing out this time, push to both hands outwards, lifting your fingers straight upwards, bending the knees, pushing out with the hands. Couple of breaths here. You can feel the energy coming through the arms, through the feet. You're not depleting the energy, you're gaining energy. You're drinking from the well of yourself. And then hopping off that chair, hands back onto the hips, turn the toes again, the last forward fold. Fold forwards, take the ankles or the back of the legs somehow, or even the first two fingers around the big toes, and then fold forward. So now you've got the support of the arms to pull yourself, not aggressively, into the forward fold. So you might have ankles, calves, and then we're not coming all the way back up after this one. Take your hands onto the floor. Going into Skandasana next. Take the right toes out slightly, bend the right knee. Take the left toes up towards the ceiling. You can be off the right heel, Skandasana. You're going to walk from side to side. Hopefully now the hips feel so warm that Skandasana feels kind of cool, kind of good. So you can lift that right heel off, walk across to the other side. So you kind of feel like one leg is in a squat and one leg is straight out at the back. Going from side to side, using your hands to walk across. We did all that work in the hips so we'd be warm enough to do this mobility task. Skandasana is so rich around the hips. So going from side to side in your own time, being careful not to go too far, being mindful that if the knees complain, then it might not be worth going so low. Okay, the next time you go to the right side, stay on the right side, take your right hand onto the floor to the right side and then lift the left arm up. So you're kind of into an open twist here, opening your chest. Skandasana with that little hook, that right arm on the inside of the right knee gives you an anchor to open the chest. We'll do the same on the left side, walking across to the left side. So I know some of you are protecting things in rib cage and shoulders. So provide that anchor with the left hand and opening out. So of course, Emma, Ashana, being careful not to go too far in these ones, just being mindful, just pull back slightly. Don't get into too much challenge. And then back to the right side. This time we're going to go all the way around to the right side. So some of you have done this mobility task with me several times before. We go from Skandasana, we follow around to the right side into a low lunge. So you spin the back knee to the floor. You're in a low lunge here. We're going to continue around to the right side. So just let's enjoy this low lunge for a moment. Before we keep going to the right side, take the right foot further back. Take the right foot a little bit further back. So as you keep going, spin the 10 toes to the right side. You're going to go into mermaid. So the right knee is bent in front of you. You've got the left leg long. You're right on the left side of the left leg. So into mermaid, going back into the low lunge. So spinning now to the left side. You're spinning back around to the the original side. So we can bring that right foot a bit forwards again. So we're in that low lunge. We've still got the right knee bent. We're facing the right side. We're facing the same direction as the right toes. This one can get so confusing. It's better if we're in the same room. However, I'm sure that we can manage this one together in the Zoom room. Coming back into Skandasana, so back into the original posture, and then go to the left side. So we'll do the same sequence on the left side, walking across. We're on the left side Skandasana. That's it. So you're all the way down. You've got a kink. You've got the left heel lifted. You've got a big deep bend in the knee. That's it. Keep going. Spin around to the left until your right knee comes down. That back knee comes down onto the floor. You're in the low lunge. Yes. You could use blocks for this task. You'd have to be walking around with your hands onto the blocks like this, stilts. From the low lunge, let that left foot come slightly further back so that you can go all the way around. So all the toes go around to the left side. You can lean onto your right hand. You're in mermaid. You're on the right edge of the right foot, all the way across the right hip. Right belly is stretching. Staying a moment in the mermaid. Keep pushing through that right hand to get this right side stretch. How delicious. And then spinning across to the low lunge. You can bring your left foot a little bit further forwards again into the low lunge. We're coming out of it. So like we're kind of unwinding all the way into Skandasana. So I'm going to invite you now to play with that again. Variations can be that you try and do it without the hands. So you can do at least to the lunge without the hands. You'd need to plant the left hand down for mermaid. So go in and around both directions, again, playing around. So those who feel very mobile, maybe kind of trying it without the hands touching the floor. You won't get to mermaid without without one hand coming down onto the floor though. And so you can eventually perhaps not have to move the front leg to get to mermaid, to get to the spinny twisty bit. So it's fun to play with as long as the knees approve the play. And so another couple of rounds, I'm going to come out of the demonstration and just come and watch and just make sure everybody and so do whatever adjustments are necessary so that it can be still quite kind on the knees. Some of these postures are like the best for the kind of releases that we might be searching for. That's great. It looks so good, Kirsten. I can see that you're really enjoying that mermaid bit, that bit. How good is that? Amazing. So protecting knees as you need to. And moving bits and pieces, moving the feet as necessary. Looking pretty good there, Katie. Looking very mobile, my dear. Yeah, don't try to get to mermaid without a hand. I don't know what happens if you try and get to mermaid without the hands on the floor. You fall, probably. All right, and then let's all come into the center again. We're coming into a two-legged squat. So we'll just come in with both knees bent, with both heels lifted. We'll just take our hands for a moment onto the knees. And it's kind of like a double Skandasana. And we'll interlock the hands and lift the hands up towards the ceiling. Just pause a moment here in the center of ourselves. We've been doing some, pretty wild things from side to side. Let's just come into the center, come into this kind of prayerful, courageous place. Let's take ourselves wider in the feet. So it might be that the heels are down. It may not be that the heels can come down. We're going to go into the squat for a moment. You can take a block underneath your bum if you'd like. 1 or 2 blocks underneath the buttocks. Quite nice. If you feel really comfy in squats, some people do. It's rare to feel kind of really, really comfy on your haunches. But if you're comfy, then you don't need blocks anywhere. So we're going to now take the right hand on the inside. We're anchoring again. So the right hand comes around on the inside, and we're going to lift the left arm up. We're going to add the bind. Maybe that right arm, that right shoulder, you can hook your hands around the back. Don't get too bossy with this one. So the hands come around that front and around to the back. I'll demonstrate from behind. So that arm comes around. Maybe you can catch the fingers. That might pinch into the right side, so it's not worth it. Keep the arms wide if it doesn't feel good. It's just a kind of kooky little play that you can hook your arms around the leg and then release. We'll do the other side. So the left arm anchors. We open the right arm up. If your shoulder is connected to the leg, you can spin your left arm around and maybe even take the bind. If that starts to pinch into the left side of the body, it's not worth it. It's just a bit of fun anyway. And so we might just be anchoring and opening into the twist. And then we'll come out of the squat, lifting off the block. We'll take ourselves down onto the hands and the knees, just to wiggle from side to side. Move the blocks away if you've had the blocks on the mat. Wiggle to make sure that the side body feels comfy and lovely. Okay, we're going to go from here to the one-legged pigeon. So bringing ourselves back into a down dog to get into one-legged pigeon. You can bring your right knee behind the right wrist. The right foot comes in, and we walk back and down. We're going to do the mobility task that comes from, we're going from one-legged pigeon. We're going to sink down and into this one. Enjoy a little of the hip opening, because we haven't done this hip opening task in this session yet. So it will feel kind of quite nice maybe to get right into that right hip. We're going from this one-legged pigeon. I'm going to spin the back leg around to the front. Hook the left heel over the right knee into Ardha Matsyendrasana, the twist. So it might be that left foot can hook all the way across the knee, or it just sits in front of the right ankle. So if you can't cross it over, don't worry so much. You're in the twist, the right elbow hugs the left knee. You're spinning the lungs. And then come out of the twist. Take your hands to the right side into straddle. So you're unwinding the legs and lengthening them. You're in like a wide-legged down dog position. We call this one the straddle. So we're going from one-legged pigeon to straddle, and then back down. The right knee comes back onto the mat. Spin 10 toes to the left. The right knee comes down onto the mat. We're back into, we've twisted around. It's like a breakdance move. We've twisted around back into Ardha Matsyendrasana, the twist. The right knee is underneath, the left foot is hooked over, and back into one-legged pigeon. That left leg comes all the way around to the back. We're back into one-legged pigeon. So if this stuff doesn't feel fun, then of course just do all three postures in your own time. Those three postures, the one-legged pigeon, the twist, Ardha Matsyendrasana, and the straddle, they're all beautiful postures just to do. You don't have to go from one to the other, but I find it super fun to go from one to the other, as long as your hips, legs, spine feels like this stuff is fun as well. Okay, so one-legged pigeon, Ardha Matsyendrasana, the left leg comes all the way around, hook it over the right knee. We're in the twist. It's good for the brain to try and work these things out, to try and get from posture to posture, but as long as the knees approve. Okay, we're unwinding this twist. We're going into straddle. The hands come to the right side of the mat, and we unwind and lengthen the legs. Push back. The legs are nice and wide. It's kind of like a down dog, but we don't have the weight onto the hands. It's like a wide-legged forward bend more than a down dog, because the weight's not on the hands, the weight's still on the legs. Back knee is the right knee. It comes down onto the mat. We'll just do one more. round. We're going back into the one-legged pigeon. We're in Ardha Matsyendrasana, go into the twist. I hope that you're following along quite well. And if you're not, I hope that you have your sense of humor on. And the left leg comes around to the back. We're back into one-legged pigeon. And we'll settle in here. We'll just let ourselves take pause here, let the brain rest. We're going to swap legs. Let's swap by swinging that back leg around and forwards and spin the right leg back. So the left knee is now forwards and the right leg's back. We've swapped by swinging the legs around the front. We're now in one-legged pigeon. The left knee is underneath. Left knee is forwards, one-legged pigeon. So if you haven't done that swinging switch, then get yourself into one-legged pigeon. Left knee is forwards. All right, so the right leg is going to sweep around and hook over the left knee. We're in the twist. The right foot is hooking over the left knee, or it's in front of the left ankle, and then twisting across opposite arm to leg. You've got the left arm hooking the right knee in, spinning into the twist, and then reach your hands to the left side of the mat, unravel the legs, you're in straddle. Nice long legs. The weight is not so much on the hands, you're pushing right back. This is a lovely wide-legged forward bend. We've done so many of these in this practice. This should feel hopefully pretty good. The left knee is coming down onto the mat. Just identify the left foot, that left knee comes down. We're spinning into the twist. All the way around into, that's it, Gita. It's funny what the brain does. It's like it gets scrambled. We all get scrambled, when, especially the rights and lefts. This is easier to develop yourself rather than being told how to do it. And then that right leg is coming up and around. We're back into pigeon. And so another couple of circuits, let's call that the circuit between one-legged pigeon, and you might just do the postures by themselves. They're all great postures, and it might be that you just do them one by one rather than in a loop. So in your own time, I'm going to go around a couple more times. So from that Ardha Matsyendrasana twist, it's like a breakdance move to get out of there. Yes. You guys have got it. It's nice to repeat these phrases, unless it's of course not nice if it doesn't feel good, but it's kind of nice just to get a sense of sweeping. It's almost like a dance. And staying in the postures long enough to kind of feel them, to kind of taste them. Next time you're in the one-legged pigeon, just remain there, and we'll take ourselves into some less complicated endings for our session. So from one-legged pigeon, the right leg is back, bring it to the front and bring both feet together. Hold the ankles and butterfly the knees. We're in Baddha Konasana, butterfly the knees, holding the ankles. Hopefully the hips feel lovely and smooth, that you're kind of bright and renovated in the hips. So less complicated, Open the legs. Konasana, we'll finish with Konasana. So nice and wide, take the hands behind. You could use the legs up the wall version of this. I know, Lise, maybe you want to spin yourself so that legs are up the wall as opposed to on the floor. If you've got wall space, this is a beautiful pose to do with the legs opening at the wall. So pushing fingertips behind you or in front, whatever feels good. We want the adductors, the inner thigh muscles, just to release. And there's a little switch on the inside when we release these inner thigh muscles. We are so accustomed to switching them on, and now we're releasing them. Allow that to release all the way in, all the way up. We're going to do the Kapalabhati breathing to finish. So those in morning practice, we're not all in Europe in the live session. There are some people from Australia in this live session. So it's weird for us to do Kapalabhati in the evening. However, we're all going to do a Kapalabhati to finish because we can feel this connection. Even if you're lying down with legs up the wall version of Konasana, we can feel this lovely connection all the way through the torso. So let's do 30 pulses of Kapalabhati breathing now. Ready, go. Take a deep inhale and hold the breath in. Pause a moment. Hopefully you've got a whole balloon. It's expanded in 3 dimensions, upwards, outwards, downwards, into the back of the body, side of the body. Exhale, maybe going a little deeper in the posture. If your legs are up the wall, maybe opening the legs just a little further. Not holding the breath out, just letting yourself deepen. Okay, last round of Kapalabhati breathing, letting the whole of the belly flutter into the pelvic floor, flutter into the chest. We're opening the channel all the way through the torso. Open the whole balloon of the chest, down into the belly, outwards, backwards, downwards. Exhale, maybe going slightly deeper into the posture, but it might be that you've gone as far as you're willing, far as you're able, far is as necessary. Not holding the breath, just letting the afterglow of the Kapalabhati. Just be aware of the entire torso. Of course, your legs are making themselves known. And then we'll come up and out of this one. Scoop underneath the legs to close them. Give yourself a hug. So let's come into seated position. If you need to go right on the hour, then we've hit the hour. And so if you're comfortable, you can just switch it all off and off you go to enjoy another day. If you're going to linger with me a little longer, sitting up into a cross-legged position or whatever position feels good for you. You can sit on the couch if you'd like, but not slumping, lifting nice and high from the pelvis through the ribcage, through the skull. Let's do the breathing hand meditation to finish. So wherever your legs are, let the legs be a lap for the hands to rest into. Turn the palms upwards. And we'll just become aware of our own breathing. Head is floating on the top of the spine. You can do this lying down if you'd like to. If you're more comfortable lying down, then lie down, but the palms are opened upwards. We're detecting the body's breath, our sacred breath. And then animating the breath through our hands. So very slow movement in the hands. Each time we inhale, the hands brighten and expand. Each time we exhale, the hands like closing a flower at the end of the day. Inhale, the flower is open, like two lotus flowers in your hands. Exhale, the flowers close. We're animating because our hands are so poetic. We're animating the hands to become more involved with the ebb and flow of our own breathing. And the movement can be fairly dramatic at first. It can get very, very subtle. We can detect even the tiniest amount of movement in our hands. There are so many receptors that we have in our fingers and hands. And so the movement becomes smaller. If you've been moving your head forwards and backwards just to kind of encourage the hands to animate, let the head float on the top of the spine and be stationary, floating upwards. The hands can move linked to the diaphragm. This is a beautiful focusing exercise, and the focused mind is indeed a powerful mind. The hands animating, mimicking the diaphragm. The diaphragm pulls down to open space. The inhalation is an opening of space. And so we're mimicking the breathing right from the center. We're connecting the hands to the diaphragm, the hands into the center. Attribute the hands to being bright on the inhale, like two bright white lotus flowers. And they do not dim on the exhale, as though the hands are now filling with light. And now attribute light into the diaphragm as though the diaphragm is also a lotus flower, bright, white, light in the center of your body, not dimming on the exhale, but getting brighter each time we inhale. We have these three beautiful lotus flowers moving as you breathe, filling with light, becoming bright, radiant as you breathe. Notice you can feel the bright radiance in your hands and in your chest, in your belly. And you can continue the breathing hands meditation. It's a beautifully poetic meditation, a beautiful way to focus. Or we can bring our hands into the center, the petals of our fingers touching. You might even open a little space between the hands, so the petals of your fingers each touching one another. You can still feel a little bit of space for the bright radiance that is between your hands. We'll finish with this ancient mantra that we all know so well. We've perhaps known it forever. Om, the most subtle, the most detailed, the finest of the energetic universe, as vast, as tiny, infinite. Mani, the jewel in our hearts to connect to one another. The urge to know one another. Padme, the wisdom mind. Let it blossom, let it open, that radiant wisdom that you are. Fearlessly being ourselves. Hum, the grounding of our practice, the cycle of our practice. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. We'll mutter the mantra a few times together so that we can kind of keep muttering it all day, reminding ourselves. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. Last round. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May our practice remind us to glow brightly, to get to know ourselves, to be courageous in our undertaking of our lives, of our minds, the courage to know ourselves. It's a pleasure to practice with you. It's a pleasure to remember together. Namaste. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Enjoy your day on Paradise Earth. See you soon.
Namaste, Tashi.